Disturbia is a 2007 horror mystery directed by DJ Caruso and it stars Shia LaBeouf, David Morse and Carrie-Anne Moss. Sometimes I like to go back and watch old movies that I actually enjoyed years ago, Disturbia being one of them back in 2007. I remember watching that a few times thinking that was a really good movie, a very surprising movie, so I thought it's been about 10 years since I last saw it, so I thought it's time to revisit it. A teen living under house arrest becomes convinced his neighbour is a serial killer. I'm going to start off with the acting because Shia LaBeouf is in this movie and a lot of people comment on his overacting, and he does that in abundance in this movie. He does overact, not just in Disturbia but in a lot of his movies, but there's something there, there's something about Shia LaBeouf that is really good. I think when it comes to doing serious roles, including in this movie, there are some serious moments in this movie where you think he is a really good actor.
Do you have any idea what I just been through? Hey!
With under the right direction, under the right script, I think Shia LaBeouf could be one of the best actors today. But in this movie and in a lot of his movies, he does let himself down with his overacting. There's times, especially in the Transformers trilogy that he was in, he overacts quite a lot. He does this silly bundling fun act that he does in some of his movies that almost seems like improv, and I'm pretty sure some of it is improv.
Do it!
It doesn't work with Shia LaBeouf. In this movie, it doesn't work. But like I said, at the times when he's serious, he is really good. You've got Ashley, who's the girl next door. She is your typical girl next door, beautiful blonde, who the neighbours all love. And it's no exception with this movie. She is one of those characters. She doesn't bring a lot to the table in this movie, and neither does Ronnie, who is Shia LaBeouf's best friend in this film. He again is one of those characters who's just your best friend and you think he might get killed. In this instance with Ronnie, played by Aaron Yoo played the exact same character in this movie as he did in Friday the 13th from 2009. I don't have much to comment on Carrie-Anne Moss. She plays his mother in this film. She doesn't have a lot of screen time. She's just the mother, and again she's just your standard mother. But one person that I did really like in this film was David Morse. He plays Robert in this movie. He's the next door neighbour who we assume is the killer in this movie. I think with his presence in this film, he's a very tall and bulky actor and he brings a lot of screen presence to this movie. There's one scene in particular that I remember that he is getting stalked by Ashley in the store, and she thinks she's getting away with stalking him. She doesn't know that he knows he's there, and then when she's in her car, she's trying to get away in the parking lot and he stands in front of her, in front of the car, gets into her car and quickly takes her keys. He's very quiet, he's not aggressive, he's just very quiet and politely spoken, and the way he acted in that scene, you're thinking he is very, very scary. The storyline of this movie is very simple but very intriguing as well. I always had the idea in my head, I don't know why, I always had the idea in my head that there was a killer living next door and I, as a 13-14 year old, was going to get out there and solve that mystery. This movie brought my fantasy to life. It was almost like a fun, tame version of Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps, but then when it hit the halfway mark, things got very serious. The film had three basic acts: the first, the second and the final act. The first act set us up. It had quite a sad beginning with Shia LaBeouf's character's father dying at the very beginning of the movie. This explains Shia LaBeouf's character throughout the film, why he is the way he is, and it sets up obviously him being put on house arrest because he punches his teacher for talking about his dad. So at the very beginning of the movie, that sets that up. The middle act of the movie was the fun part, getting to know the characters, getting to know the bad guy in the movie and finding out who the bad guy was. And then the final act was when it took the story on its head and it became a very serious movie. If I had to compare it to a movie that came out these days, it would be Summer of '84. That's one of these movies similar to this one. There's a killer living next door. They try a fun way of finding out if he is the killer. It might turn out that he's not a killer at all and it's just all in their head because they're teenagers. But in the final act of Summer of '84, it went very dark and very serious very quickly, and the same thing happens in Disturbia. Because of this, I loved the pacing in this film. It was a funny first and second act, well maybe not the first act, but the second part of the movie was funny. It got us laughing, thinking maybe there's nothing wrong, maybe it's all okay, and if there was anything out of the ordinary, it wouldn't be anything major. But then when that final act came, it spun the movie on its head. Because he was on house arrest, I think that they utilised the monitor, the GPS monitor on his ankle very well, because not only did it explain how he can't just leave his perimeter anytime he wanted, he was confined in this one area. They utilised that great in this movie because he couldn't go certain areas because the police would come after him, but they also utilised it in a good way that would benefit his character as well. When he's under attack, when he's trying to get help, he's trying to get across that line to make the police come. Like I mentioned, guys, I've seen this movie many times back in 2007 because I really did like it. I thought it was one of the best movies of 2007, and watching it today for the first time in a long time, in about 10 years, nothing's changed. I still think it's one of the best movies of 2007. It's got some great horror mystery elements to it. Kind of like Summer of 84, like I said. I don't think it's as good as Summer of 84, but I still think it's one of these movies that stands on its own 2 feet and it will be remembered for a long time. So have you seen Disturbia, guys, and did you have a lot of fun with it like I did? And also let me know what you think of Shia LaBeouf. He is hit or miss for a lot of people. For me, I think he's more on the hit rather than the miss. If we take away his silly improv acting, think about his serious acting. In this movie in particular, I think he's done a really good job at the serious parts. And again, if you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it. Like I said, it is one of the best movies of 2007. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching again. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.